Any more guests left? Otherwise,
Yes.
okay.
He's.
Name also different.
September, be late for something. Or something day.
Be late for something day. It's September 5th.
Okay. So, September 5th, as you all know, it is a special day. It is also known as International Guru's Day, Teachers' Day. So, it is something where we can't miss out on expressing the gratitude and care who have brought us today here in this stage of earning or studying or till the day we have reached our life so far. So I'm not able to make more sentences on this something.
So the idea is that we are always on time, try to be on time, right? For
Yes.
everything, for
Yeah.
events, for weddings. Can you think about something where you can be late for, like you enjoy being late for?
Actually, today is the day where if we come late, also the teachers won't scold in the school because they know that it is their day, and we give them utmost love and affection by sharing the experiences and thoughts of that class or that school. So, with that, I conclude my speech that it is a good day.
Any more guests left? I think this
We
one
don't
more
have
guest.
more time.
No time? Okay, great. Thanks everyone for being a sport in this celebrating unusual holidays around the world session. And I conclude my session and hand over the stage to TMO.
Thank you, TM Bhavna, for such an engaging and fun-filled session. I hope you can help reaching out this message to PM Modi. You can declare all of this as a national holiday. And we can all enjoy these days. It will be really fun to enjoy such kind of days if we have it. Time for the last section of today's meeting, and which is one of the most important section as well. I would request everyone to hear this section, because this can also help you learn some part of the evaluation from somebody else. So this is the most important section, and I would invite PM Ragori to take this evaluation forward.
As you know, evaluation is the most important part of any Toastmaster meeting. So are you prepared for this?
Yes.
Yes.
Great to hear. Anyway, I had to continue. I'll first start with the speech evaluations. I would like to call upon the content evaluator, the very dashing and very experienced Toastmaster.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Great.
Wonderful. This is a new concept for me. I have never seen something like this before, so I'm going to try my best. Let's talk about content first in general. Content is what is a speech. Whatever forms the speech is content. There are certain rules that you have to stick to in Toastmasters. The most important thing, there has to be a beginning, a body, and a conclusion. But even more important than that is transitions have to be smooth. Then a few things here and there, if you add a twist in the story or in the speech, it makes a speech more interesting, more riveting. So yes, there are a few things that we can keep in mind. Now coming back to the speeches that we heard today, some wonderful speeches I must say. The title of the speech is also a part of the content. And if you have an interesting title, that is the first step towards gaining your getting the attention from the audience. So the first speech was, I had an IQ test and the result was negative. Brilliantly chosen topic, I must say. Another brilliant thing done by the speaker was that he asked many questions from the audience. He kept the audience engaged the whole time. There was one question where he asked something, but he did not acknowledge the response. This is also a part of the content. When you ask a question and somebody responds, acknowledge it, say something about it, and then move ahead. Another wonderful thing was sharing personal stories. And later on, he moved on to draw a comparison between two characters in the story, Saurabh and Santosh. And that led to us thinking, okay, this way is better than the other one. So yes, wonderful way of content creation when you draw a comparison, a wonderful technique. I would suggest the speaker to slow the speed, the pace down a little bit. I think it was a little too fast, so please work on that. Second speech again, very simple. The way he wrote the speech was, he started with his childhood, then he came to his college life, and then he came to his work. And the limits of contentment was the topic of the speech. And then there was a twist in the story. The story was going very normally, very peacefully. There was a twist that now I had to challenge myself. So that is again a wonderful way to get the attention of the audience. And then again he drew comparison between contentment and challenging yourself. Now why do we speak as speakers? We don't speak for ourselves. We speak for the audience. And this is something, challenge and contentment, this is something we all can relate to. So it's always good to create a content around something that is relatable to the audience. So that was a wonderful thing. Could have added some extra information about why did the speaker decide to challenge himself in the first place. That would have again given us something to think about. Each and every member of the audience would have thought that, okay, do I also need to challenge myself? Is there something missing in my life too? So that could have been done to make it a little better. Coming to the third speech, the relationship gearbox. The speaker asked us to imagine something. Let's take a scenario. Again, a wonderful way to start your speech. We always say that the beginning of the speech should be done with a bang, because that is when the audience know within 3 to 4 seconds whether or not to listen to the speaker or not. Then there was humor in the speech at the very beginning, that Rahul joins a new company and then the manager speaks to him like this, and then he goes and gives in his resignation. So everybody was either laughing or smiling. That's also a very important part of content creation. Again, the speaker did a wonderful thing. He drew a comparison between manager A and manager B. Very clear-cut comparison. So keeping the content simple and understandable is another key aspect to making your speech successful. It was a very simple and straightforward, relatable story. Many of us here are corporate slaves, so we all could relate to it. He also asked questions during the speech and acknowledged the responses too. So that was wonderfully done. I think he followed the audio method quite a lot, back all the points with apt examples. And another beautiful thing the speaker did was he used vivid imagery. A cow jumps in front of your car. I could see a cow jumping in front of my car in that moment. So vivid imagery is something that appeals to all the 5 senses of a human being. So this was sense of seeing. We all could see it, we all could relate to it. So wonderful thing. He could have repeated the 4 types of the terms that he used in the end to make it clearer. So that would have worked better. The icebreaker speech, speech number 4. Manji the mountain man, he made us again smile at the very beginning of the speech. So a wonderful the attention. Now, I feel that sharing a very personal story and being vulnerable in front of the audience is something that takes guts, and that's what the speaker did, so I must applaud him for that. And I'm out of time, but wonderful speeches. So please stick to a beautiful and amazing opening, then you have your body wherein you give your facts and figures, and you end with a bang, and make sure that all the transitions are smooth. Thank you so
Just
much.
one request, since the speeches were too many, I think we should give her more time so that the other speakers also.
How much time is for the election?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
More time should be given.
More time is
Okay.
At least 2 minutes to each speaker.
Yeah.
The feedback is crucial.
Alright, thanks. Thank you. Where was I? Yes, so I was saying that it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable on this stage and share something so personal with a set of strangers. So we must applaud the speaker on that. Again, the speech was going in a normal way, and then there was a twist in the story. COVID happened, and that's when I realized, okay, I need to change something in my life. Again, how many of you thought of that time, COVID time, when he said that? Many of us.
Yes.
This is again a part of vivid imagery. So I encourage you all to use the different 5 aspects, whatever you can use of our 5 senses: sense of seeing, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of hear, and sense of, what's the 5th one?
Yes.
Sense of taste, yes. So describing something or a particular situation in a way that your audience can imagine it clearly in their mind and see it is a wonderful way to include something in your content. Alright, the pace was a little fast, so please work on that. Next, Aparna, the annoying cousin. Again, very relatable questions. Like I said, we speak for the audience, not for ourselves. One thing that needs to be taken care of by the speaker is that she used the Hindi language quite a lot in a dialogue. And in the Toastmasters forum, we are supposed to translate if we use a vernacular tongue. The reason being, you may move on to higher levels of the contest going ahead in your journey. So there may be people in the audience who do not understand your language, so make sure you translate whatever you say into English. Another thing I particularly liked about the speech was there was suspense in the story. When she said the phone was ringing and the phone did not go through, most of us were thinking, I know, that is everything okay with the cousin, is everything okay with him? And most of us had that nagging fear at the back of mind. So, brilliant way to add that extra bit of spark in the content. Well done. She closed emphatically with never take anything for granted. It was a reminder for all of us. We all know that yes, family is important, work is important too, but this was like showing us the mirror that yes, work is very important, but it's all temporary. Family is there to stay, it's permanent. So brilliantly done. One thing I would like to add here is a recommendation. Always try to leave your audience with a high. We all were a little down by the end of your speech. So I know you wanted to deliver a message. Think how you can make it a little positive towards the end. Because during your content, you take your audience high, you bring them down, you take them high, but in the end, make sure you leave them with a high. The last speech, procrastination. Again, we all have been there, we all are victims of procrastination, very relatable. So kudos on that. And when he was talking about the speech that I nearly did not come and speak today, I'm sure all of us could relate because we have given speeches here and we have also had that last minute thought, let me not, but then we end up doing it anyway. So very well done. He also followed the OYO concept, he started the opinion, then he explained the meaning of procrastination and what is the cost of procrastination, it's very high, and he gave us solutions as well. This is something that I call the problem solving technique. You state the problem, you define the problem, you give examples, and then you don't need to add just that. You come to the solutions also, you state the solution, you define it, and you give examples. So in this speech, that part was a little missing. Yes, you told us the solutions, but the examples were missing. See, examples are what make your speech rock solid. Personal examples, personal stories. If you don't have any, make them up. But examples are something that are a very important part of content creation in any speech. So please take care of that. Storytelling was done brilliantly in all the speeches today, and I thoroughly enjoyed evaluating the speeches. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shweta. What a detailed and very useful evaluation for everyone of us. Now it is time for body language evaluation. Let us invite the very talented Toastmaster Bhanu to take it forward.
What travels faster than sound? Correct? Similarly, our actions, our body gestures, people see them first even before these utter a single word. That's why having a proper body language while conveying your message is very important. Last week, Toastmaster Bakul was saying in a speech, 52% impact comes from your body language. And today, I am going to comment on individual speakers' body language performance. So please be with me. Our first speaker, Toastmaster Abhishek. You demonstrated good hand gestures and sometimes you showed movement from back to front. That was also very important because when you want to emphasize on a point, you come from back side to the front and speak to the audience. Your eye contact was good, though mostly it was on the right side. Sometimes you were on the middle and left side, but mostly you were on the right side. And body action, initially your body was not moving, but towards the end you got freed up yourself and you were demonstrating good body gestures where you can improve. So I saw that you were having frequent stage movement. So one thing important about the stage movement is move on the stage only when you are showing you are moving to a different point in your speech. So if you have multiple stories, you are moving from one story to another story, or you moving from one place to another place. So I was in Delhi and then I moved to Bombay. So in that situations, you move from one point to another point. But I saw few of the speakers, they were constantly moving. So it might seem a little bit irritating to the audience. They will be focusing more on your speech, but they end up focusing more on your stage movements. So just keep in mind. And one more thing I observed, that most of the speakers have their hands clasped. So like this shows nervousness. Please avoid this. You can have hands like this in a star position. I will show you. When you come, you want to show it like just stand like here and keep your hands like in the star movement, or you can use it freely. If you keep it like that, like kind of you are clasping something. Okay, as I mentioned, your eye contact was mostly on the right side, and and one more thing, you are like left hand. Sometimes you're using less. You have showing good hand gestures from your right hand, but your left hand was almost idle. So just keep in mind. Our next speaker was Toastmaster Vishal. He was delivering his icebreaker speech, but he was smiling. So it was showing that he was less nervous, even though he was a little nervous because his hands were clasped. But having a smile is a good way, is a good stress buster. When you come stage and smile, so you release your tension. So that's a good thing. And you also have good hand gestures, but it was kind of little repeated. So just keep in mind. Clasped hand I already told. And you are also constantly, you are not moving across the stage, but your motion was like this. So just avoid this. When you stand on the stage, you stand firm. Okay? You don't lift your heel or something. You just stand still. And your eye contact was mostly on the right side, and towards the end you are looking at the TMOD. but you're ignoring the audience in the between. So just practice. So one of the technique you can employ for improving your eye contact is to make a W across the stage. So like you can look here, make a W front, then go back and then come to the left side. And in the end, you are saying, have some saying about stage leg. So you could have shown that action that, okay, I have to stretch my leg. So anyway, you have done good job. Ankit, so you had a smile on the face. Again, a good thing. When you come on the stage, you smile. The audience feel welcome. They are more interested to listen to you. You had some laughter also in your speech, so that was also a good thing. When you are giving example that I am leading this organization, you showed laughter. So this is a kind of a comic situation and also releases your tension as well as brings some comic relief for the audience. Your eye contact was around the room and you have to demonstrate good hand gestures. And when you ask question, you raised your hand, so it shows that you are going to ask question. Again, you had clasped hands, so just work on that. And unnecessary stage movement, so you were also constantly moving. Toastmaster Manish, you had good hand gestures, you had the smile, so it seemed like you are delivering an icebreaker. Again, when you come on the stage, so first you should wait for the TM body to settle down. Look around the stage, make a kind of an eye contact with everyone and give a smile. Look around how the audience are sitting and then you start. Don't be in a hurry to speak your first word. So that's like, in that way, you will feel more nervous. As soon as you go on the stage and you start speaking, you will feel more nervous and you won't be able to deliver. Last hand, you can work on that. And should have shown that there were some situations where you could have improved your actions. Like, I ran away to Mumbai. So you could have shown, I ran away to Mumbai. Alcoholic, so people can understand more, and your stage movement is required more actually. You're standing on one place, and eye contact again mostly on the right. I think because of the majority of the people are sitting on this side, people look around here only. Aparna, okay, yeah. So she presented a kind of a master class on how to use stage movements. So most of the stage movements were perfect. Like she had a smile, she took a pose when she came on the stage. She had great facial expression, like her eyes were talking, her face was talking, and it's like a call situation, typing, during the presentation, hand coming up and then showing that demo. Great vocal variety also, and poses in between. Again, some improvement. The stage movement was little more than required. So like as I mentioned, you should move from one point to another point when it's in your story. And sometimes you move too much back on the stage. So just keep in mind that you should stay most of the time in the center. And when you want to make a point, come a little forward and go back to that position. But in the end, when you are showing a sad situation, when you are feeling kind of a vulnerable or you are in a distress, it's okay to go back. So it shows that you are on a down situation. And there was one thing that when your cousin was calling again and again, so you should show some more anger. Like I saw that you were a little smiling. And smiling instead of shock when you heard the news that your brother met with an accident. So that also you can do. Anurag, so when he came, he had a serious face. So we could understand that what is going to be his speech topic. So he was talking about his some serious topic like procrastination, and so that was conveying mood. So that was good. He had a good standing posture. So like he was standing firm and delivering his speech. He was not having unnecessary stage movements. And also he was smiling in between, so it was kind of releasing tension. Again, when you come on stage, don't just start speaking. Just take a pause, just relax, take a deep breath. That's kind of a stress relieving. And some of the times you are taking away eye contact from the audience. So sometimes looking down or sometimes looking side. So always keep eye contact with the audience. Don't lose your audience. Clasped hands, you can work on that. And could have used some more hand gestures, like when you're talking about Pomodoro technique, you could say that 5 minutes, take a 5-minute break or 45. So you could have done that. So yeah, I have a body gesture report for other speakers as well, but as the time is over, so you will, like whoever wants to know about their body gestures can come to me. Well, but most of the general observations were the clasped hand gestures, unnecessary stage movements, and not having smile on the face. So maybe other speakers also can take note of that and make necessary amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bhanu. That was really great. Now it is time to invite the all-weather Toastmaster, Toastmaster Surinder, who is the policy evaluator. Let us welcome him.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Ayush, that set up this type of evaluation. As Toastmaster Shweta already mentioned this the first time, and Toastmaster Shweta already covered a lot of things in evaluation, and they already took burden from us. And I have some points as a voice evaluation. We have to understand what have to be evaluated that, what have to be work on that. I just create a framework on that. It is 3P. We have when we have to work on our voice in speech, we have to work on the 3P. That's the one is the pace of our speech. Some of the speaker, it is common when we are nervous, we try to speak fast as we do, so that we can deliver as fast, and we have to leave this stage. But if your pace should not be same throughout the speech, but it should be not be overlap. The first one is the pace, and I noted down some speakers, they have good pace, with good pace, like Toastmaster Ankit had a good pace in their speech. They are calm. Anurag as also was the calm. Toastmaster Aparna. And over the other hand, Abhishek has something that need to have to work on that. So we have to. So that another problem in pace is that we lose clarity. Because when we do some overlapping with the words, with the sentences, then we lose the clarity and we lose the message that we have to give to our audience. Second P was pause. Pause is very beautiful. Pauses improve your speech because it just tell you that if your speech is throughout going on the same pace and you are not in pauses, and your audience will not get time to grasp. If you deliver a good message, then a short pause need that audience can relate, can absorb. These are things, and pauses, third thing is pitch. This is a very common thing we already talked about. We have to change our pitch, and some things that I already noted used by some speakers. They would use the pitch, but like Aparna, then he said like these things, and his pitch was changed from high to low. That will again help to grasp the audience. That helps to connect with them. That helps to present your emotions. If you are angry, then you can explain it with your pitch. Toastmaster Ankit uses it very well when they explain angry moments. That's the pitch point. On pitch, other thing that I missed, and all of speakers can work when we have a role player in our speeches. We have in communicate with any communication with a dialogue in the speech. Then we have to use voice modulation so that we can differentiate one person to second person. sometimes in the Toastmaster speech, manager A and manager B have same voice. I feel both persons are same. But another example, you change the pitch to show the anger, but also use the voice modulation to present your characters. That will help to again. It actually, in simple words, I will explain voice. It will be a speech, a simple speech without voice modulation, without voice techniques. It is a black and white picture. But when we use these techniques, pauses, emotions, pitch, then it will be colorful. Like we have a picture that is, I draw it, sketch, but the sketch doesn't have any color. But when we fill it with colors, it will be more beautiful and more artistic. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sundar. Now it is time for to call upon auxiliary role players, the tag team. Whom should I call first? Canadian or accountant? Okay, Toastmasters. Arjun.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I will first explain about creative usage of language. So when we use code in the language, always it helps us to remember things. Like one speaker very aptly used in the end of the speech that professional usage are temporary and personal usage are permanent. So in the simple language, and code is quite simple and it is easy to remember. So using codes in the language is also very good creative thing. And similarly, if we use to explain something adjective, if we use adjective, like the speaker used daunting task, pathetic experience, wonderful experience, or riveting experience. So these adjectives helps us to emphasize the things, to explain things, how was it. So these were used by the speakers. And then funny one-liners also, that for example our general evaluator said in the beginning that anyway I have to continue. Simple sentence, but he catch the attention of everyone. And few things here and there that also we can use in our language just to emphasize something. Now for the improvement point, one speaker used key in Hindi language while he was explaining. So we can avoid such. Sometimes people use matlab also while speaking English or key. So these words we can avoid. And while explaining a situation, we need to take care of the tenses also. Like one speaker was explaining about a situation, and he said that is the response of CTO. So instead of getting the response, it should have been that was the response, because he was explaining about past thing. And we need to take care of subject verb agreement also, like whether you want to lead. So with you, always it will be want instead of wants. And I have seen we need to be sometimes brief also. Like one speaker spoke, it is demand of situation. So at that time also we were talking about past. So if in the present we want to speak, we can just say that it depends on the situation, or he could have said it was a demand of situation. But it depends on situation is better, I think, because it is brief than it was demand of situation. So few words are always better. Then one speaker used to sentence that differentiate one person with second. So in this case, if we are using a sentence like differentiate one thing with other, not one person with other person, not second person. So first, second we use for the sequences. And in one situation, the speaker was explaining that something I already noted. So if in a sentence we are using already, so there should be two sequence of events. At that time we can use already. Otherwise it is unnecessary to use already. improve. In the end, I could say that like also we are using for as a filler words. So we should take care that like should not be used in filler words. A lot of speakers are using. I will also maybe message personally to some speakers which I use like more times, maybe many times. Mainly, similarly, like is used as a proposition to explain about similarity and conjunction and verb. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Let us now invite the accountant, Toastmaster Kabir.
Hi, good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon.
So, I'm starting with this. So, our Toastmaster of the day, Vishal, used N 6 times, Abhishek like 3 times, Vishal so 4 times, Ankit so 6 times and like 2 times, Manish so 10 times, and Alpana, well spoken speech. Aparna. Anurag so 6 times, 3 times, like 4 times, and Varun N 3 times, 2 times, and Ritik 3 times and so 4 times, Prithvi so 9 times, and Shweta so 4 times and 6 times, 5 times, and if I talk about Surinder, Toastmaster Surinder, 5 times. That's it. Thank you.
Now it is time for the timer of the day, Toastmaster Khushi.
So in speeches, anybody can guess who took the most time?
Aparna?
Whose speech was the longest? Abhishek. And least was Vishal. Rest all speeches were good. Ankit took 5 minutes 41 seconds. Manish 5 minutes 21 seconds. And Aparna 7 minutes 20 seconds. And Anurag 7 minutes 8 seconds. And table topics, anybody can guess who took the most time?
Chirag.
Yeah, Chirag. And least time?
Prithvi.
It's me.
Yeah, I guessed Prithvi. And everyone else were on time. Varun took 1 minute 39 seconds. Guest Lokendra took 1 minute 30 seconds. Guest Ritik 1 minute 35 and guest Tanmay 2 minutes 21 seconds. And about evaluators, so it is understandable that the speeches were more. So Shweta took 11 minutes. Body language evaluator, Mr. Toastmaster Bhanu took 9 minutes 46 seconds, and voice evaluator took 4 minutes 45 seconds. And grammarian allotted time was 3 minutes, but he took 4 minutes 5 seconds. So I think he is disqualified. And our counter took 54 seconds. Thank you.
I keep it short, we are already running short of time. So meeting started on time, so that is really great. And it was engaging, entertaining, and ran smoothly. However, there were transitions during the speech, so let us minimize that. And let us minimize the crosstalks and someone's phone was also ringing in between. The meeting was organized, structured, and all the speakers were prepared. However, there was a little bit more preparation required from Toastmaster Anurag. All the role players were on time and there were no back out thanks to Toastmaster Anurag. All the table topic master did really great, interesting topic, and explained the table topic section really well. About the evaluations, all the evaluators did really great. The report was really detailed. One recommendation for Toastmaster Surinder, the voice evaluator, let us target the visual speaker instead of generalizing everything so that the speaker can get feedback. Now, that was about general evaluation. I'll quickly go through the table topic speakers because there were no dedicated evaluators for them. Varun, great attempt. you could, obviously topic was a little bit different. One recommendation, you can start reading or something so that you have more ideas and create more thoughts. Chirag, great speech, great humor. You missed the allotted time, but that was really great speech. Loken, very confident. One recommendation, you were just standing here, use stage movement. Ritvik, again, great speech, but stage movement is required. Guest Tanmay, very confident, very clear and crisp with the ideas he was sharing, the stories he was sharing. Stage movement again required from you as well. And Prithvi, great attempt. It was probably your first attempt, so that was really great. You came onto the stage and delivered this speech. You can take more time to create more thoughts and speak about it. So that is it from me as the general evaluator. Let us now invite the presiding officer to take it forward.
What a wonderful meeting. 6 back-to-back speeches and 6 back-to-back table topics, although we are slightly running late of time. So by the time I take guest feedback, I request everyone to submit the voting form. One more request, please submit the feedback form as well, because generally we receive only 3 to 4 responses on the feedback form. So please ensure that you submit the feedback form as well.